Hey everybody, we finally made it to Epic
We did.
Universe. I'm Rachel,
And I'm David.
and as you just saw, we actually spent our first day at Epic Universe today, which, if you've watched any of our other videos, you know we're big theme park people. We love to go to all the different theme parks, and we've waited like 6 months to go to Epic.
Yeah, I can't believe it's been 6 months already because it feels like just yesterday. And to be honest, I haven't been spoiled on literally anything before today. Had no idea. I saw so many things I had no idea existed. It's pretty incredible.
Yeah, so we just want to go over like some of our favorite things, maybe some of our least favorite things, some challenges we had, some wins we had, and just kind of share our honest thoughts about this park that you see a lot of hype on social media about.
So with like any theme park that we do, we're almost always going to rope drop it. For this particular instance, we stayed at a Universal hotel, so we got in a little bit earlier. So we got a whole hour. We got to the security, and it was awesome. We were only like maybe 10 people back.
Yeah.
It was actually pretty sweet. Now, I didn't know going into it that they stop you multiple times along the way, so
Yes.
that was pretty interesting. But each of those steps, we were still pretty far up, and I really liked that. I thought the guys were actually, like the security guards were actually really funny.
Yeah, and then once we got in the park, though, we did hit some struggles. With early entry, only certain rides and/or lands are available, and they say that certain rides are guaranteed, but other rides, you see online, some people say, well, this ride may be open and this ride may be open. So our strategy was to go to Minecart Madness, which is the Donkey Kong ride, even though it was not guaranteed with early entry. And
Pretty much everybody online was saying that
that
it
it
opens
usually
with the part. It usually
yeah.
opens, and in my opinion, it's a little bit of a mistake because it's so far out of the way.
It's very far out of the way.
If it didn't open, you put yourself in a really really tough spot unless you are okay with doing Mario Kart first, in my opinion, or Yoshi. But I wouldn't rope drop Yoshi, but
Yeah.
personally.
Well, and what happened to us is, so we got to Donkey Kong and it was closed.
Yeah.
And so we were like, well, let's just go get in line for Mario Kart Bowser, and it was already like over an hour long.
Yeah.
It was way outside, and so we just kind of said, no, we're gonna go for Monsters Unchained instead, and we went to Dark Universe. But it was very much a cluster getting out of the lane.
Having the ability to pivot from Nintendo Land over to Dark Universe is actually pretty sweet. Like, it's pretty flawless once you kind of understand the lay of the land.
Mm-hmm.
And having those options available to you is pretty awesome because there was like no wait essentially for Monsters Unchained, which is really one of the big e-ticket attractions at the park in a whole. So I was a little surprised that it was essentially 5 or 10 minute wait, maybe.
Yeah.
Or supposed to be a 5 or 10 minute wait.
Yeah, well.
We'll get into that.
And so I think like a key takeaway for us, and I think something for anybody else who hasn't been to this park before, if you're rope dropping, look at the map ahead of time. And if they are a park that publishes what rides are opening at early opening, take that for what it is, and don't listen to anybody online because they could be wrong and it could just depend on the day. And to be honest, Minecart Madness did not even open until about 4 p.m. At all. It was an extended delay. So, I mean, maybe it was just our day, but I think it goes down a lot. So just kind of keep that in mind.
Yeah, I really think it's just not worth rolling the dice that early when you have so many options, and they're like legitimately great options.
They're good options.
Another rope drop strategy people talked about was Ministry of Magic, and again, I don't really think that's worth rope dropping either, personally, because all the people at the Helios Hotel are way closer than the front entrance. So maybe if you're staying at Helios, you want to consider that strategy. I just wanted to mention it because those were really like the two big strategies I saw was Donkey Kong and Ministry of Magic.
Yeah, so once we kind of learned that Nintendo Land was a bust for us, we pivoted over and went into Dark Universe, and we went for Monsters Unchained. And it was really fast getting in there. Like, the queue was amazing, and it was just really, really good. But unfortunately, as soon as we got in the pre-show room, it went on delay, and it was probably about 10 minutes that we stood in the pre-show room. Then it eventually did start, and we did get to ride it before we had a 10 o'clock tour that we needed to get to. So that ended up being our rope drop strategy. We only got one ride before the park opened.
Normally when we rope drop, it's boom, 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 boom. So it was a little discouraging. I felt a little cursed, but We always tell you guys, like, there's always going to be chances for speed bumps on your adventures, and you really shouldn't let it ruin your day. I kind of let it ruin my morning, and I regret it because I didn't really get to appreciate the atmosphere a little bit. Once I rode Monsters Unchained, I was like, whoa, okay, we're in for like this is insane. We haven't talked about how we felt about any ride, so I really don't know what Rachel thinks about some of these outside of maybe Monsters Unchained, but I felt like when we were getting off of Monsters Unchained, I wouldn't shut up about it, and you were pretty content. So I would like to start with Monsters Unchained for you just because I really don't know what you thought.
Yeah, so I just internalize things. I don't really feel like I need to talk about them as far as rides and attractions and things. But yes, I think it is a 10 out of 10, great attraction. I think it had some problems after riding it 5 times, which we did get to ride it 5 times today, so we are very, very lucky. I could tell that there were a couple of effects that weren't quite working how they probably were intended to work.
Yeah, I noticed
and
that
so,
too.
like, I think that's the downside of an attraction that's as magnificent as this one is that something will probably not go right the entire time. But the scale of this ride, the animatronics in this ride are insane. It's the same ride system as Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey over at both Universal Studios parks, but it is not the same.
No.
This is like if you took that and then evolved it like 100 times.
It's ridiculous.
So much better. The amount of time that you spend in practical sets versus screens on that ride, flip it, and you get practical sets most of the time on this ride.
It's gorgeous. Like, I got off of it and I think I said it out loud. I said, I don't know what the heck I just rode because it really, really did feel like the future of dark rides to me. It's so sophisticated and so complex and honestly like beautiful in a weird way because even though it's very, very dark and it's pretty scary, I think that there's like a legitimate beauty to the way it's constructed and the architecture of the whole thing. Now, I will say it really might not be for everybody. Like, this ride would have scared the crap out of me as a kid. I would have been devastated if my parents took me on this ride.
I was about to say, the only drawback for me for this ride is I cannot think of a single one of my friends who would want to ride this ride. Like, my sister, yes. But my friends, no. Yeah. It's very, very scary.
I said the opposite. I said if my friends came here and we rope dropped that ride, I swear we would have ridden it like 10 times that day. Because the wait time gets so low at the end of the day, I swear they would have just wanted to keep doing it. I don't think there's theming better than this. Even the queue is like ridiculously cool. There's rides out there that are just so special and they stand out. So I don't know, man. I'm going to be thinking about that ride for a very, very long time and it makes me want to come back. So that's like about as good of a praise as I can give something.
So, it sounds like Monsters Unchained was your favorite ride. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah. It was mine too. It's just clarifying. Favorite ride for both of us would be Monsters Unchained. So, if that was your favorite ride, what is your least favorite ride that you rode today?
This might be surprising because I'm a big fan of the franchise, but I just do not like the Mario Kart ride at all. Rachel knows this. I've just never had fun on it. I've done it in Hollywood and I just don't understand it. I just think it's way too slow. I get why it's the way it is because they needed something kid friendly that is Mario related that the kids could ride. I don't like the augmented reality headset. I don't think it's comfortable. I don't think it's very good. I have to like tilt my head down to kind of like see what the heck's going on. I don't know why people rope drop it. I don't know why people wait in 120-minute waits for it. I just do not think it's a very good ride, honestly. So I do think that the queue is absolutely incredible. I think it's stunning. I think there's so many Easter eggs. I do think the Nintendo Land as a whole is actually quite beautiful in its own way too. Just think that ride is essentially abysmal. I don't want to just knock it because I still think people who are Mario fans are obviously going to ride it and going to want to ride it and probably should ride it because I do see people like legitimately enjoy it. But for me, it's not for me.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard because I've ridden that ride before. We've ridden it in Hollywood, so it was not new to me today. And so it's not really fresh on my mind as possible worst because it's not new. And I kind of knew what I was getting when we walked into it. The one that I enjoyed the absolute least today might be surprising.
Okay.
And I'm going to say Curse of the Werewolf.
Oh, really? Oh, that is surprising. I am very surprised by that.
And the only reason, it's not a bad ride. It's just so short.
Yeah, it's very short.
And your experience can differ so much. If you don't know, it's goes forward, backwards, and spins. And how much you spin is dependent on a lot of different factors that I don't really even understand or know. But for instance, our car, it didn't stop spinning for
It
like
went
basically the
nuts.
entire thing.
It was awesome.
But the people behind us didn't spin it at all.
Yeah.
And so it was just really strange, and like it almost got to the point where it was way too much spinning for me. And then when the ride stopped, I thought, oh, it's over. Like it was just so fast. I don't know. I think if you're thinking about like wait versus
That was crazy.
return,
Yeah, the wait time was nuts.
I would have wanted to ride it again just to kind of see, because we only did ride it once, but it's just was not my favorite.
I liked it. I thought it was actually pretty sweet, but I do think that the duration is problematic. Now it's a minute and 30 seconds or something.
It felt shorter than that.
It does. And we sat in the disembarkation room for a decent amount of time. But I think the premise is kind of cool.
Yeah.
And I think the gimmick's kind of cool. We got whipped around, but I could totally see that being way too much for some people.
Yeah.
And I know that we were in the first car, so maybe that determined it, or weight distribution factored in with that kind of stuff too. But yeah, it's just way too short, and it does have a tiny footprint, so I guess that's probably why. But the fact that it's so short and the line gets absolutely insane, I don't think I could recommend it to people.
When this park was being constructed, we knew a little bit about what was going on with it at the time. And the alternative to this ride was actually like a werewolf show.
Oh, yeah.
And after seeing the two shows we saw there today, kind of would have rather it have been a show.
If it was on the same level as the two shows we saw today,
Yeah.
it could have been insane.
So then, what was your favorite thing you did other than your favorite ride?
It was probably the How to Train Your Dragon show. It's really, really cool. We had amazing seats for it too, and it was so much more than I expected it to be. My only complaint with it really was that I wish it was longer, which is like the biggest compliment. Like the
Yeah.
best negative you could give something is I wish that it was longer, because the puppeteering is just absolutely phenomenal. And there's a giant toothless that flies around the whole auditorium, and it is absolutely stunning. I don't know how they did it. It looks like toothless. And the first time I saw it, I was like, I had goosebumps, and I was like kind of emotional.
I got emotional.
The How to Train Your Dragon area as a whole is like really, really special. I think
Mhm.
it's just absolutely gorgeous, and it really does feel like you've stepped into the island of Berk. So we knew we wanted to see this show just because Rachel had mentioned it earlier in the morning, and I was like, yeah, let's just go do that, because everything is 400 minutes. And I don't regret it at all. I was flabbergasted. I can't say enough nice things about it. I think it's a must-do, and I think the show was above and beyond anything I could have imagined. I think I told you that it might be my favorite stage show. The only thing that rivals it maybe is The Lion King at Animal Kingdom. I think it's awesome.
Well, I was having trouble making my mind up between two things, but since you gave one of them,
Yeah, I was wondering.
I'll say the other one so that way we're different. My favorite thing was meeting Toothless.
Oh, yeah.
Toothless is the Night Fury dragon from How to Train Your Dragon. He's the main dragon. He's adorable. I fell in love with him. And they have a meet and greet that is usually Toothless and like a random Viking. And I don't know if it's an animatronic or part animatronic, part puppet. I don't know what this thing is, but it's like a living, breathing thing. Like he inhales and exhales and makes noises, and his wings move, and he feels like you would think dragon scales feel.
Yeah.
And you can pet him, and you know his eyes move. And it was extra special because as we were in line, Astrid, who's the female lead in the movies, came out with her dragon Stormfly. So we actually got to meet two dragons for the price of one, and Hiccup came out. So we got to meet both of the lead characters in the movies as well as their dragons together. And so it was really, really, really special.
It was special. And the characters were the characters on the stage show too, which I thought
Yeah.
was just absolutely awesome. Didn't expect it at all. Felt incredibly lucky to have only waited the 25 minutes or whatever it was, because it gets astronomical wait times.
It was an hour and a half earlier in the day, and we
Yeah.
just happened to see it when it was lower. And we jumped in line, and they even said it was going to be longer than it was. They said it was almost going to be like 50 minutes,
Mhm.
and we did not wait nearly that. So we were lucky.
And another special part to that meet and greet was just seeing the looks on everybody else's faces too. Just like, I felt like people needed that. Like the
Yeah.
lady in front of us was she was by herself, and she like walked up there and her whole mood changed. So I just think having things like that is actually not just important like for the park as a whole. I think that's really important for kids, and I think it's equally as important sometimes for adults. So I really do. I love that.
This is like a living, breathing thing. And obviously I know it's not, but
Believable.
it's so much different than that. Like it's so much more.
It was awesome. That's a great pick. And I really do think if it came down to it, those are probably the two things I was torn between too, which is super interesting because a month ago I hadn't even seen a How to Train a Dragon movie.
Yeah.
So I really think that series is pretty special. And so one of the other things that I kind of wanted to talk about was the actual layout of the park. I actually think it's done really, really well because I feel like you can be pretty efficient. There's paths that crisscross over the lagoon, essentially, in between the two lagoons. And so it's not very difficult to get from like Nintendo Land to How to Train Your Dragon area. So I really appreciated that when I come from places like Epcot where it's very time consuming to get from across the parks. I have a big pet peeve with that. I think they actually thought very much so in our favor when they were designing this park. And so I really do have a big appreciation for that. I think the warping into these zones is absolutely brilliant. I love that concept. I think it's a really, really good story-driven plot device, essentially, that they really are telling a story here, and it comes through the more you're at the parks and you're kind of going through the zones. It's so awesome. It's a really good way to like flip a switch too as you go through the portals. It doesn't really feel like you're going through a portal, but you get that sensation that you are entering somewhere else.
Yeah, I think just the idea of the portals is an amazing one. And it gives them an excuse to give completely different themes in 4 different sections of the park. Well, 5 if you include Celestial Park, which is like the main hub in the center. And each one is done really, really well. And they even look cool at daytime and at nighttime. So like each one looks different and takes on a different life in the light and in the dark.
And to kind of piggyback off of what you were saying, I'm thinking down the line, the expansion ease is going to be awesome. You could do any property essentially, and it can fit into this world because you're just going through a portal. There's no other connections that need to be made. You can fit it into your light shows and stuff like that just as easily as all these other worlds. And I really think that that's brilliant. And I'm incredibly excited to see what the expansions are going to look like for this park because I think there's just so much they can do.
Well, and they're already working on it, I've heard too.
Yeah.
And now that we've actually been, we can stop not being spoiled on
It's
things
true.
and we can actually go and research things. But I will say there is one thing that I was pretty disappointed in, and that's the Ministry of Magic ride.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, I like Harry Potter more than David likes Harry Potter.
Yeah.
I've read all the books and seen all the movies and all that jazz. Again, we try to stay mainly spoiler free, but I knew enough about this ride to know that it was about Dolores Umbridge's trial. It was part of, basically, you enter the Ministry of Magic. And I feel like, in my honest opinion, the queue is much better than the ride itself. I do think that the portal that goes into the Wizarding World is phenomenal. And then I just love the French Paris sets, like, look amazing, and all the theming is really good. But then it's really funny that they use an excuse of there's a time turner and then you're back where Harry Potter is. And so, like, it seemed like it was them just trying to make something fit in that didn't really fit. But beyond that, even if the theming had matched, the ride was so screen heavy.
Yeah.
Like, all the lessons I felt like they learned when we rode Monsters Unchained and they fixed so many things, I felt like they unlearned again in this ride. Now, there are a couple of really amazing animatronics in this ride, but a couple, like 2 or 3, whereas Monsters Unchained has dozens.
Yeah.
So, and it's a very screen heavy ride. It's very disorienting. It's just not what I thought it was going to be. And some of it has like facial projection too. And that doesn't look quite right.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, it's already not aging great. And it's only 6 months old. What's it going to look like in like 10 years? So the queue again is amazing.
Yeah,
like
it's incredible.
It was really, really cool. My favorite thing was to go through the Metro Flute, and that's how you're transported back into the world of Harry Potter. And that's when you have the big reveal into the Ministry of Magic. It's beautiful, and they did it really, really well. But yeah, the ride itself is not my favorite.
Yeah, so I have mixed feelings about this one. So I had heard that this was incredible, and I'm pretty disappointed, to be honest. like Rachel mentioned, I do not care about the Harry Potter universe at all. In my opinion, coming into the land itself, the Ministry of Magic area was pretty spectacular. The queue portion in particular is actually very, very stunning. Now, that being said, so the ride itself is pretty lackluster. Like, I don't know what exactly they were thinking. You made like the best point I could possibly make when you said it's like they didn't learn their lesson from the Forbidden Journey. Absolutely not my cup of tea. I like the ride vehicles. They're actually pretty cool. And you do see an incredible, huge, massive animatronic, but it comes after a very jarring set of screens.
It's one of those where they say it doesn't open with the park, but it could open earlier. And actually today it did. But it had a 2-hour wait
Right
at
off the
park
bat.
open.
Yeah.
So everybody went that way.
Yeah.
Basically.
And towards the end of the night, what was it looking like?
It was only like 35 minutes.
Yeah, so that's a little bit better. Now, it did close a couple times during the day for us today. Now, again, I can't emphasize enough, if you're really into the Harry Potter universe, I do think it's probably worth like an hour wait still. Like, I don't usually recommend that. It is what it is. And Harry Potter people are going to love it. And people who don't know anything about Harry Potter, like me, probably just aren't getting it. But yeah, I'll ride it every time I go. I'm only going to do it with an express pass. And if I don't get to ride it because it's down all day, I'll just be like, okay, let's go check out the land. Let's go to the circus.
And saying something about it going down a lot kind of leads into the other somewhat negative just about this park in general. And it's that I had heard a lot about struggles with keeping rides up and going. I already said Minecart Madness, the Donkey Kong ride, it didn't come up till about 3:30, 4 o'clock at all today, and then it did, and then it was down again for another hour or two at one point, and then it finally came back up again. Hiccup's Wing Gliders never came up today. It was closed all day. So we did not get to ride that at all. Other than that, pretty much every ride had some sort of delay. And that's just super strange to me that they would engineer it that way.
So what I think is happening is, yeah, they're the latest and greatest, but with that comes sophistication. So when anything goes wrong, there's so many levels that they have to be checked before they get the thumbs up to start it back up again. Like Stardust Racers can be down for 15, 20 minutes because someone kicked their shoe off or something.
Yeah, and we experienced that as well today.
Yeah, so it's like, yeah, these rides are latest and greatest, and they're going to last, and maybe they'll figure some of these kinks out, but when they're so sophisticated, there's just so many moving pieces, so many different things can go wrong. I'm trying to give them the benefit of the doubt here because I love the park so much. Now, when we get on about all these negative things, it brings me down, but like I want to emphasize, we're only mentioning these things because we're trying to be honest with you guys.
Yeah.
We
want you to be prepared.
Exactly, yeah. So it's not like we hate this park. No. I think the park's incredible, but I don't want to give you guys bad advice or anything like that. So we're kind of just giving you guys what happened to us as kind of a precautionary tale. But at the end of the day, it was an incredible trip.
Like, yeah, and we already want to go back. Like we were talking about, well, next time we come, we're going to do blah, 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 blah. Yeah. So it's definitely a park I want to revisit. I'm not mad that they've only been selling one-day tickets because it's the new shiny toy. I would have been tempted on this trip even to do 2 or 3 days just here, and I think I would have gotten bored, to be honest. Like, I don't think it's worth that. So if you can only get a one-day ticket or you only have 1 day to spend, I think you'll be okay. Yeah. I do highly recommend getting the Express Pass or getting the VIP tour, which I know are both very pricey items. I understand that might not be for everybody. Express Pass for me is worth it in order to do all the rides and all the things, because it's not just the rides at this park. It's also, there's 2 phenomenal shows. There's lots of different good food options. They have fountain shows that go on. So there's lots to do and to see, and I think you can still do it all in 1 day.
Yeah, I consider it, if you're very experienced in theme parks, you're going to be able to knock this out in a day, especially with Express Pass. Now, if you're on the fence about it, like you have an opportunity to go to Epic Universe this year, or maybe push it back 6 months so you can afford the Express Pass, I think I would push it back the 6 months, especially if it's like around the holiday season or a busy time of year, or like the kids are getting out of school or something like that. I think it is actually worth pushing back. I know a family of 4 that gets so dang pricey, and they're really pushing out people because of the Express, like with the Express Pass. But the Express Pass is also increasing the waits in line for the normal people in line. So it is going to give you a huge advantage. The lines are always going to be bad right now until a new park, maybe it has to be a new park comes along. Even I don't know how long this rush of people is going to keep going on at Epic Universe, but it's kind of for the foreseeable future in my opinion.
All right. So overall, we are already wanting to plan our next trip to Epic Universe, but have you been to Epic Universe yet? Do you have any opinions? Do you think we're completely wrong? If you have a good rope drop strategy that you want to share with everybody, or maybe you don't because you don't want everybody else doing it and cutting you off in line, feel free to let us know in the comments. And if you enjoy this video and want to see more travel content from us, please like the video and subscribe to our channel. But for now, I'm Rachel.
And I'm David.
And we hope this video helped you find the right direction for your next adventure.
Bye.
Bye.